Hello, this is Ethan from Dark Zebra, and I just want to quickly touch on the Bash vulnerability known as Shellshock and how that affects your Docker images. If you want to see if your Docker images are vulnerable, one way that you can do this is through the and you can find these commands online. There's some exploits where you set an environmental variable, and that environmental variable will help you know if it's vulnerable. So I am just running an image that I created. Well, I'm going to run this on Debian, and I just modify my entry point and point it directly at env, call my image name, and then I pass in my command, which in this case is x equals, and then you'll see that if I have a vulnerable system, I will get the output vulnerable in my output here, the word vulnerable. And so I'm just going to execute this to see if this is a vulnerable system. And it is a vulnerable system. And then there's a second one that came out, and I'll try to post both of these below. And there's probably going to be more coming out after this. But this one does the same thing, but it does it slightly different by using a bash function. And once again, we see that this is vulnerable. The way that we can update this is, and I've created, I'm going to go through this again, but I've created a Dark Zebra / Shellshock local image for myself. And you'll see that this is vulnerable. But I can go in directly to this, and I've already run, this image is based on Debian, and I've already run an apt-get update just to speed up time. So you'll need to do that. And I'm automatically going into Bash here. And in fact, if you want to just go directly into Bash on your image, on your container, if you can do the exact same thing. Just go in and type env and then the exploit code, and you'll see that you're vulnerable. Now what we want to do is a simple patch, and you'll have to find it for your own version. But for instance, on a Debian or a Ubuntu system, we can just run apt-get install. I believe it's only -- only upgrade, and we're going to type in bash. And I mistyped only. And what this is going to do is just grab the latest version of bash, and I will rerun my test to make sure most of the major Linux vendors and many of the Docker files have already been updated to fix this. So now when we rerun our exploit code, you'll see that vulnerable does not get executed anymore. So this system is no longer vulnerable. Well, at least, and I apologize, I did something wrong. You don't want to do the --rm right now. We need to just go back in, run the apt-get install only -upgrade, and then type in bash. Once again, this is going to install. Now what we're going to need to do is create a new tag of our image. Now that we have updated bash, we need to get the, this 3A60 is our container ID. It's no longer running right now. But what we can do is commit that. And I believe it's docker commit the container ID and then our image. And so for instance, we're going to do Dark Zebra / Shellshock. And what that is going to do is make sure that now when I pull Dark Zebra Shellshock and run this env command, it will pull the latest version where I have upgraded bash. and you'll see that now I'm no longer vulnerable to the Shellshock exploit. That's one way. If you perhaps have an image that is either custom or hasn't been maintained. The easier way to do this is just to run docker pull, and then for instance debian in my situation here. And as I said, most of the major Docker images have been updated to address this vulnerability. And I am not going to go through this entire thing, but I will say that it has upgraded, and when I run this command again, it will show that the Debian image is no longer exploitable. So make sure to upgrade your images, and if you've got running containers, you need to bring them down. You might need to remove them and restart them with non-vulnerable images. That's all I got today. Thanks.
Thanks for watching this Dark Zebra presentation. Please rate this video and add it to your favorites if you liked it. For additional content, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit us at darkzebra.com.